Welcome to Orange Business. My name is Dan Hansen, and welcome back, Alan Hoel.
Thank you, Dan.
We are now back in the studio after I had a Cube morning seminar at Valentine's Day, February. And after that session, some customers came back with the question, how do we do logging in Kubernetes?
Well, that's a good question, Dan. I'd like to answer that one by borrowing a line from Charlie's Angels and saying, very carefully. The thing with Kubernetes logging is that it can quickly get complicated. By its nature, Kubernetes is a distributed architecture. Well, that means that you'll have several servers because it scales so well horizontally. And all your control planes and compute nodes are generating their own metrics and logs that, of course, you want to stay on top of. In addition to that, you've got all your applications running in pods, which also create an enormous volume of logs, and not all of them in the same format. It would be nice if they did, but such is not the reality that we have to deal with. So we've got an enormous amount of log data coming in different formats, and that is a complicated scenario to approach.
But how do we do it?
I'm glad you asked. So from before, we were using Elasticsearch. We found it to be the best of breed when we were evaluating how to best be in compliance with the ISO 27001 standard, which is logging, auditing, and auditability. We knew that it was a very flexible tool that could handle a great amount of different log sources and formats, and it provides observability. Now, that's a bit of a buzzword, Dan, so I'll expand into that if you'd like.
Please do.
The knee-jerk reflective reaction when a user would ask you how to fix something with this computer would be to say, have you tried restarting it? Now, to a sysadmin, you wouldn't try that, but you would probably say something like, did you check the logs? Well, that was some time ago, Dan, and in these days, logs are no longer actually for human consumption. There are so many of them, and they are just so verbose that you cannot see the forest for the trees. Believe me, I've tried. With Elastic, we get observability. In other words, the data that we have collected are easy to interpret, and they tell us a story about what's really going on in our clusters. So we had Kubernetes, we had Elastic, and thus, a match made in heaven. I'd like to show you a little of that if you want.
Please do.
So just quickly here, we'll take a couple of metric dashboards. We'll log into Elastic. Well, actually, Kibana, which is the user-friendly web-based front end that you use to look at your Elastic data. I've chosen the nodes dashboard to show you here. So as that's loading up, you can see the nodes, basically the information you would get if you ran kubectl get nodes. But as you see in the lower picture here, it's a lot easier to interpret graphically. You get the CPU consumption, the memory consumption per each node. You can glean into each one of them, check your peaks and valleys and see where you have, interesting things. Same for network, in and out, and all of it like graphically rendered. An eagle-eyed observer, I don't know if you can see it from here, would quickly see that the compute nodes are obviously overrepresented because they are much more active than the control planes, which is that it should be. I took another one as well. That's the pod metrics. Good opportunity for a quick sip of water. On top there, you see several dashboards that I could have investigated. I just chose the two ones that I thought were the most interesting ones. So you got all your pods, or, well, the first out of 4 pages. And then again, the CPU consumption per node, and also per pod limits, because those are different. Again, with memory per node total and per pod limit, which is what you define in the manifest, which are the limits that the pod should be allowed to use. Again, you can drill into the top contenders there and see what is using the most resources. This cluster is not a very busy one, so actually the Elastic Agent features quite highly, but you're able to drill into that quite well. Now, I don't want to talk so much about what you can learn from these models as I want to tell you We spend literally no time setting this up. All of these dashboards that you see here are available out of the box when you install the Elastic agent on your Kubernetes nodes and just point it at your Elastic endpoint. And all of this is ready to go.
Elastic looks impressive, but what more can it do?
Elastic is indeed impressive. It can do several things, Dan. It can, for example, provide application performance monitoring, APM, which is a way of monitoring your application in real time. So you can see, where are users getting stuck? How many clicks does it take them to get through it? Is the database responses, that sort of thing. And all it takes is a small agent that you deploy together with your application. Machine learning also is included in the Elastic Stack and is very good to use for things like forecasting and anomaly detection, that kind of thing. And finally, of course, there's SIM, the Security, Information and Event Management, which is a quite interesting topic all by itself. I'm not going to talk about that very much, though, Dan, because I don't want to steal somebody's thunder. I know my colleagues are getting ready to go live with a webinar that they have been providing. So that's all I'm going to say for now.
Thank you all for watching, and thank you, Alan, for this session.
Anytime.